right, everyone. So we do have game two between NoPing and Omega Gaming. This is the Division 2 of the DPC in South America, brought to you by 4D Esports and Epulze. I'm Bowie, and this time I actually have a co-caster, Mangusu. How are you doing?
Hello, doing very well.
Awesome.
Super happy to be casting South America and my former team.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, do you have any opinion on the drafts that we have right now?
Um, Kind of fascinated by the Leech pick. Is that a NoPing favorite?
Uh, I think I've seen them play in the past, but not that much. In this first game, I'm not sure if you were watching, but they actually opened with Io, fifth pick, and this time it was banned by Omega. I don't remember what was their ban in in the first time, but they're also constantly banning this Murana. Feels like Omega they really like this Sand King Murana. They ended up going for Sand King Kato. It was terrible. Their lane got destroyed by Io Gyro, and now they don't even get baited by the Sand King. They go Ench Deuce instead.
Yeah, with Kotal you usually want some stronger offlaner to be able to body for you. Sanking is pretty weak at the first few levels, but Sanking Mirana is definitely a combo that has proven itself to be super strong. I think pretty much every region uses it. So when the enemy has second pick and they have those two picks together, you kind of look out for Sanking or Mirana all the time.
Mm.
I know that Leech has been growing in popularity lately. Um, it's not like it's a popular hero, but I seen it picked sometimes in second phase. I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that NoPing go for it at the start. Seems to have some synergy with Mars,
Mm-hmm.
the two ultis together, right? And then
Yeah.
on the other side, you have the Enchantress as the overall first pick, kind of a classic. They also abuse the fact that NoPing banned Mirana for that. Now you go Enchantress and there's no Mirana +1 answer,
True.
which
Yeah.
is pretty popular in South America, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about committing for? I guess usually if you want to pick your carry in the first phase, you do want to have that eighth pick so that you can ban a couple of matchups you don't like. But are you first of all, you think Medusa first phase is good enough, especially versus Mars?
Uh, It's definitely a good hero. I'm not sure if it's something that you can always pick on first phase, but picking carry on 8, so the first pick in the last pick in the first phase, when you see the enemy offlane duo, is usually good. The problem that I see here is that this Mars could be flexing to mid, which I know for sure that NoPing would want to do, and you also don't see the other support that's in the lane. But maybe they are one of those teams that are really confident playing around Dusa. They have a play style that works well around this kind of hero, so they just wanted to get it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've actually seen also a lot of South American teams also running this clockwork. So, do you think this is gonna be a 4 clock, or is this at Lich actually four? Because I think it makes more sense in terms of laning, right? Having the Mars with the Lich.
Well, I don't think we can know yet. They might be looking for this Clockwork to be following the Enchantress.
Mm.
So maybe Clockwork will want to just go in the lane where Enchantress wants to play, but usually when that's your plan, it's pretty difficult. Um, Seeing Dusa as the carry, I would rather have some tanky, strong melee offlaner that doesn't really lane that well with Clock.
Hmm. Well, they kind
So
of show they kind of ruined the flex. I guess not ruined is the
yeah, they
word,
show
but
their hands. Well,
yeah.
they got what they wanted, right? They got to bait this Dusa pick out, and now you're going to have to play Clock and you're going to have to play this Dusa into Clock and Darkseer, which is a pretty hard lane. But at the same time, if you're going to have any post 5 against this lane, it's probably going to be Enchantress.
Mm-hmm. You have
She might be able
the dispel.
to, well, the dispel is very important, and just in general, she might be able to release all of that pressure.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't remember. I think it was Thunder Awaken versus Thunder Awaken versus Infamous maybe. They Thunder Awaken had Dusa, but it was not Enchantress. I don't remember the fight they had. And they got crushed against Darkseer plus Tusk, I think. I'm not sure if it was, the enemy team problem. I think this actually, obviously, ranged heroes, they are weak against, anything that just shoves the lane into you. Darkseer Clock specifically because you can also dive and kill the Dusa. So you think they do have the advantage with that lane?
I would give the advantage in the lane to the Cloak Darkseer, but it's not as bad as it usually would because of the Enchantress. I think it's going to be a super interesting lane to look at because it's going to be super skill dependent. How much this Cloak can control the Enchantress, deny her creeps or not, how much the Enchantress can deal with the pressure in the lane, maybe pull waves. It's going to be super interesting to see. On the other hand, we have the DK Hoodwink combo, which is
Classic.
just a super, super stable combo right now. This DK hero is very good. It brings a lot. The instant stun, the tower damage, and lately, actually a decent amount of damage with the new shard, and some really, really good lane shove. You just go to a lane, use the shard, then use your Q, the wave is gone.
Yeah. And you have Soul Ring,
So
never really run out of mana, right?
right now, because of the fact that NoPing don't really have a save and they can't get one, they need to make sure they get a carry that doesn't get bursted. So the carry needs to be tanky enough so that the damage reduction coming from Leech is going to be strong enough to act like a save. Because otherwise your carry is constantly going to be dying to this decay.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem they'll have to solve. I guess lucky for NoPing, they do have overall aspects, so they'll even be able to think about the mid hero that Omega might pick. Obviously, the DK could be flexing towards offlane, but I guess a little bit unlikely, right? I guess they could also pick a mid hero that flexes to offlane and still keep their options open. That's probably the safest move, would you say?
You could, you might shoot for that, but you would also be fine with just having the DK and the Hoodwink lane together. You pretty much know that Mars is mid, so you're just gonna pick something that's good into Mars. I'm not sure exactly what matchups are amazing against it. Probably Kunkka.
They get banned. They get Void.
The Void Spirit has the nice advantage of not being easy to pressure by this clockwork. So you always want to look at that. If I had to guess how this matchup goes on mid, I would say that it's slight advantage for Mars.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, Void Spirit, he does have the advantage of being that type of hero that he relies much less on items, right? So you only need your 6, maybe level 7, and you're already, it's much easier for you to assist in fights, which I think Omega's draft is pretty good at. You have this Hoodwink setting up some bushwhacks with the Enchantress being positioned. So I do like the mobility, also the fact that the Void Spirit doesn't care about arena. Now it's the question of NoPing and whether they're gonna lane this Mars middle. I mean, no, they have to.
They kind of have to, yeah.
They have
In
to.
terms of carries, I think Ursa could look good. Razor maybe.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Beautifully
so
telegraphed.
Ursa has the advantage of basically he cares a lot about the matchup in the lane. If he's playing against some, let's say, ranged hero that can harass him a lot, he will be very sad. Let's say he's playing against a Veno or a Necro or a Dead Prophet. But here, he knows for sure that this is going to be a DK offlane. So they would want... Like, the matchup will become good because he can constantly hit the DK. And then he also has a position 5 in the Leech, which can enable him to hit people. That matters a lot for a hero like Ursa. Because Leech is strong, he can fight with the other support, and he brings 2 really good disables, 2 really good slows that are going to allow this Ursa to hit the DK. You also want a hero that's tanky enough and that doesn't get bursted. So you need to chain disable this Ursa perfectly. Otherwise, it's just simply not going to get bursted. And because he has a good amount of HP, he's gonna be able to get saved by Leech. It's also a really good matchup against Medusa. Usually the heroes that Medusa struggles against are these heroes that can deal a lot of single target damage. Ursa is really good at that, and he can also go Diffusal. That's the most popular build.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, especially because last game he went Diffusal on Gyro. So very likely we'll see that item this time. So you do give a pretty good advantage towards NoPing's draft, I would assume.
Yeah, I would say NoPing's draft has better matchups. But what I would look at is how this Darkseer lane goes. Because if the Darkseer lane goes well and they can apply pressure, they can transition that into taking the enemy's jungle and then taking Aegis. You really want to get this early Roche kills with the Ursa, and you need to be able to use that to keep on pressuring the Medusa. If you can apply this early pressure, you're going to win. But they don't have any tower damage on Radiant.
Yeah.
There's nothing actually reliable. So if you don't have an insane amount of pressure, it's going to be really hard to finish the game. And if you get to the point where, let's say, second Aegis is over and you haven't gotten an insane amount of advantage, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, and on the side of Omega, they do have better tower damage, as you said, with this DK. I think that is one of the very good advantages of running it as an offlaner. We did see NoPing actually doing a really good job at taking those early offlane and mid towers, actually safe lane and mid tier 1 towers. We'll see if Omega will be able to. Actually, when they were drafting, when NoPing actually went for this DK Hoodwink, I expected Dirsa to be picked up, but they went for something. They went for TA actually, which was not great in lane. I'll say.
Yeah, TA is super happy playing against this melee offlaners, but DK is kind of the biggest exception.
Yeah.
We see that Radiant.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Radiant wanted to. They started by placing this ward around mid. Then they made the wraparound, but there was a ward placed by Omega on the same cliff. So they were able to read this movement.
Very good. Might get rewarded eventually. Now, in terms of actual creep camps here in this Darkseer plus Clock lane, what is this enchant supposed to do? Do you just wanna block it with centers? I would assume it's pretty hard. Like Ench cannot contest the clock, right? He'll just show up there.
You actually don't want to block anything.
Oh, really?
When you play against Darkseer, you would always want to block this big camp.
Yeah.
So that they can push the wave and then pull. But right now, if they pull, you're just gonna go there, take the big creep, farm the wave. Something interesting, they realized on Radiant how important it is for this wave to go well, so the Leech actually started top, tried to go for a first blood play in case Omega would make a mistake.
Did not happen so far. And yeah, nothing too major going on. In the first game, J-Mari actually, it was the only lane that Omega did well in the matchup. I think he was playing really well, but then he just started, he got solo killed twice by Suits. So I think this is a matchup that he could also die, maybe even more than the first one, just because we kind of said that this is slightly Mars favored, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of hard for you to die, just because of your mobility.
I mean, before 6. I guess even then. Okay, we do have first blood at bottom. They actually get Duster.
Yeah, the Leech overextended. He played in the tree line on the left side, got pulled back by the Acorn shot, got stunned. He needs to be super careful playing in that area. Basically wants to make sure that he always plays behind the Ursa.
Gordio. Taking a fair bit of damage here. Do they have Brief Fire? They don't. So, just gonna get salved. And we'll chill for a bit. Mid lane. Both mid laners actually very low in HP here. But all of their cooldowns are used, so I don't think anything major is gonna happen.
On top lane, we see this problem with laning the Cloak and the Darkseer into Enchantress. the clock ended up dying to the center creep. And now Enchantress is able to get another one of these big creeps in the lane. This is very problematic. They need to apply good pressure on Radiant in this lane.
Yeah, I was pretty fascinated by the fact that they actually, went Darkseer knowing that Inch was there. I guess they assumed they were gonna outplay the lane. Is that what they were thinking?
I don't know, you can always kind of get caught up in this kind of ideas. If you think, in general, you would love to play Clock into Enchantress. Generally, if you manage to somehow make sure that this is going to be the matchup in the lane, you're going to be very happy. So maybe that's why they were thinking about that, and they didn't realize that once you add the Darkseer, the Enchantress is going to have a really big impact.
I see. Yeah, does make sense. Mingate so far actually doing really well in lane here, 19-2, but they are trying to kinda... Alright, he was sharing damage with the range creep, but he dies now. Mingate is still trying to kill Misho. They will get that kill, trade it for the clockwork, but this looks really good, especially with this lane actually just going under tower. Meraki didn't want to tank the creeps here for the Dusa, I guess. Pretty hard versus Exifat anyways, but that is a
That was
lost.
That was a very big mistake by Dusa. The Enchantress was dewarding the small camp.
Bombing though, they do
bot.
get the RDO. They traded for Lissex, but still pretty good. Much better performance by Omega. I'm surprised actually, because they just got Omega. J-Marie, kind of though, but yeah. Sorry, go on about the mistake.
There's nothing that hurts me more as a support than my carry dying while I'm trying to unlock a camp. I'm unlocking the camp. The wave is pushing into us. All he has to do is just chill, wait for the creeps to come. But he's playing too aggressive on the wave, gets caught by the cogs thanks to Iron Shells. There's a fight between Enchantress and Clock, let's see.
Ench. Okay, healing spree for the Ench actually dispels the Iron Shell, but Sexy Fat will TP to the tower. Still pretty low in HP. Gotta be careful, doesn't have any regen items besides this Ring of Health.
Lots of hard work has to be done by this Mars to bring this game back right now. He needs to have some really good moves. He needs to apply some really good pressure to towers. He needs to make sure he opens the map up so NoPing can snowball.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that is a super strong power spike on the side of Omega, especially now with Lixex approaching that level 6. They also have this catapult. So if the towers start falling, it might get pretty hard for NoPing, because as you said, they do need that Roche, they do need that, I guess, early momentum to be able to kind of choke the Dusa. And right now, even though she died once, still looking pretty good for her, I would say.
On me, the solo kill?
Oh.
Well done.
Yeah, I told you, dude. Suits is on fire today.
He surprised him with the level 6. Got the combo exactly when he got the level up and the ulti.
Very, very nice. Also, will get the rune with Invis, so that could even be another kill if he decides to chain that with a rotation towards the top lane, which seems to be his plan right now.
They got the Dusa. They're on top of her on top.
Alright, Dusa trying to run away. Should be fine, but what about this Suits rotation here? Can he actually find maybe the Ench? Ideally, you would want Mingate, but it looks like they know something is up.
They need to push the wave. If they can push the wave with Iron Shell,
boy, Suits
that is going to happen.
Gets a good tree cutting. We get the spear, and that's going to be a dead Dusa once again. Actually, still doing some damage. Elmisha will die, but after Dusa falls, Dark Demon with a good bushwhack. Wow, that was a lot of damage, honestly. And they also get Mars. So that's, an okay trade, but only the supports benefiting from it, unfortunately.
This is very big for Dire. These rotations, it was so well done. So well done by Suits. Exactly at the right time. There was even a catapult. If you don't get the response, you kill the Dusa, you can pressure her tower. But these supports on the Dire side are so fat. Both of them are level 5. Pretty high, close towards level 6.
Yeah. Yeah, like the 5 is actually gonna get level 6 before the carry. Yeah, I guess they're pretty close. They're both gonna get the 6 right now. Very interesting distribution of experience across the board here. You usually don't see it this way. Like the Jmari is the same level as his 5 at 7 minutes.
You cannot all in onto Enchantress in this lane and expect to win.
Bot lane though,
You will.
Insect's pretty low. Won't die, but go on.
Yeah, if you all in on the Enchantress, you're not going to have the resources to pressure the Medusa. So they need to always...
Oh, Rune spawns bottom here.
They're getting
as
destroyed.
Both laners trying to fight for it. Rotation from Dark Demo. They did lose the Darks in the top lane. Jmari has one Astral Step. Okay, actually dodges the Spear and the Arena. With the Dissimulate though, he will move towards the Haste Room. Suits has a slow from the Bulwark, but doesn't commit. So, I guess that's pretty big. Arena being forced, Darks here dying. Still, and they get the top tower. What? Wow. What was that? Was that the Dark Troll Summoner?
No.
Okay.
The Enchantress has been running creeps at the tower. This is the third creep that she has been using to hit the tower. And her build is just very good. She understands that she's in a position where they can just own the lane. So she maxed her Impetus, 2 points in her enchant so she can hold creeps. She was basically pushing people out of lane by herself.
Wow. That's a good hero. Mid lane, they also get the heal here. And, I mean, Dire just doing so well. That's a totally different game, right? Bottom lane, they also killed the Ursa. This is a totally different game from Omega. They got stomped so hard and now they're stomping. Do you think this is just the draft? Like, do you think the draft was supposed to work like this, or was some kind of outplay or something going on from Omega?
They outplayed on bot. The bot should be better for Radiant, but they got caught out of position on Leech. They didn't manage to all in the DK at any point.
Yeah, the Ursa definitely got stomped. I guess the Lich kill kind of gave them the levels to lane a little bit better versus the Ursa too.
Yeah, it matters a lot.
Jmari gets an Arcane Rune now, so it's kind of pokes, but he is alone, so not really anything he can do. I do like the rotation of RDO top. It looks like even though Omega is ahead, they are the ones with an Ursa. They're gonna get this top tier 1 tower. It's kind of odd, right?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big mistake that they don't defend here. They were low on resources on the Dusa, and they just pressured bot. But I think they should have tried really hard to bring, let's say, 4 heroes.
Okay, smoke
to the top lane and try to defend.
In position. Can they get a good hook shot? They don't have really good vision around this area. So far they do occupy this area, right, which could give them the tower. But I think there are resources here for Omega to defend. Can they burst Jmari? That's the question. Hook shot with this. Oh wait, what? The spear actually didn't go to the arena, so he took less damage. Still enough though. They used a lot of spells for that points per kill. The Hoodwink being chased down. That is another dead hero. Nice wall. So much damage being thrown around, and that's 4 heroes dead on the side of Omega. They commit with everyone but the Ursa, and there's still a fair trade. Wow, I didn't expect them to have that much damage. Really nicely executed by NoPing.
Once they group up and there's a lot of Iron Shells, they also have the Leech and the Mars. It's a good amount of damage. Omega just didn't, let's say, set up preemptively for those plays. You should value holding that side of the map, or at least being in a position to defend those towers, way more than you value taking the bot tower. At least for the one on mid. Because they were not in the right position to defend, once they try to set up and defend, it's very hard.
Duster actually grabs J-Marie. He goes for the region room, gets hookshotted again. Do they have a vacuum or some sort of disable? So far, J-Marie gets another angle, has the arcane room, so those cooldowns are gonna be up a little bit faster. Spear doesn't hit on the wall, and they will get one clockwork with J-Marie also disengaging. So they do place this ward, actually smoke straight up, so they still want to fight the arcane rune, giving that Void Spirit a little bit of, alright, blink with the Dragon Tail. That's going to be a dead Duster. They also find the Bushwhack on Suits, being slowed by the Vow Assassins. So that's going to be 2 kills here for Omega. They punch back. Can they actually get a tower for their trouble? That's the question.
They need to pay more attention to their cooldowns on Radiant. They're kind of posing, playing in an aggressive position when they just didn't have their cooldowns. So this Blink Dagger and Bushwhack on Dire just managed to keep on getting kill after kill.
Yeah, they get a pretty good smoke. They knew they were not under vision when they went for it. And NoPing kind of crumbles there. Still, they are the ones with the tower advantage, even though their team actually lacks quite a bit of push. So that still kind of baffles me. I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes Omega went for this game. But Dusa is farming. Mingate is way ahead in terms of CS, in terms of net worth. He is like really good. So as long as they can kind of slow down that Roche that you talked about and Dusa keeps scaling, I would say, I mean, I guess I want your opinion. Do you think they have the overall late game on Omega?
They do, for sure.
So
the only problem that I would see is the timings on the BKBs.
Yeah,
Radiant understands
they want
they
to
need to
pick
go
up
for
for
more.
Roche. They do find nice use of the sharpshooter to get out of the cogs. Spear does kill Dark Demon as the arena gets dropped into tier 2. Very odd place for the fighter, kind of diving as J-Marie shows up. Slow suits a little bit. Duster with the good positioning. Oh my lord, that's such a good Leech OT Duster. Oh, beautifully positioned there. That's really good.
That's a combo you don't think about. The vacuum with the Leech ulti.
Yeah, that was...
Here comes the Roche.
That was great. They will get Rush indeed. Dusa still farming, but that's the timing that they need on the side of NoPing. The Fu is going to be done pretty soon, as you mentioned, and that's gonna buy a bit of time for NoPing to get to those BKBs. Mars. So wait, did he rush Death? So he doesn't have a lot of items. No, he actually has Blink and will go BKB later. All right.
Dire are not kind of thinking about the way that they should be taking this fight. Or fights in general. Radiant can only commit with their spells. If Radiant can kill with the vacuum, with the wall, with the Leech ulti, with the jump, the arena, they will win fights. That's just how it's gonna go. That's how it's gonna go now and in late game. So Dire need to get items that allow them to not die to that jump. It's pretty much BKB. I would be looking for them to try to go towards BKBs and get a lot done with them. It's the only way they win late game. If they don't have invulnerability to get away from those combos, they might even lose late game.
And do you think the Halberd then is a mistake from this DK? Because that's what he has queued up right now. Arena misses on J-Marie. But yeah, answer my question.
Yeah, it's probably fine on DK.
Okay. J-Marie trying to go for the room, does find it. Region as he engaged pretty aggressively. Another big combo though. That U-Scepter from J-Marie is not gonna help, but Lissek's pretty tanky. This time they don't get bursted, but the Darkseer shows up with that shard. Mingate tries to aid, but he just wastes his OT, so this could be kind of a really good time for NoPing to keep playing aggressive. They find the Enchantress, so they're all kind of separated. Good Bushwhack though. Can they get anything out? They're out of resources. They get one kill with J-Marie showing up, but you gotta be careful that Diffusal Blade is there. Can they actually cancel the TP? They don't. But that was so close.
I changed my mind. He needs BKB. Probably on Void Spirit you don't need it. And on Dusa it should be a later item. Probably after the Skadi. But I don't know. I don't really think this Skadi does a lot when you're playing against super mobile melee heroes. But that might be one of those cases where carry players are just gonna go like, I know it makes sense, but I can't play my game otherwise.
We know how those carry heroes think. Nice push right there on Suit, so he doesn't push a little bit more. But they are under vision here. Oh, there you go. The vision of that ward. It gets scouted eventually by the courier. And that is going to... Okay, actually kill Elmisho as the arena once again gets used, but not too much avail. Mingate is a pretty bulky boy. Or I guess, Snake.
Big mistake to not clear that high ground once you get it back. The moment you get even like 10 or 20 seconds controlling that area, you should be checking the high grounds.
Yeah, I guess he was checking. He was just late, and he was very forward, right? So he was not
He had more opportunities before. They checked the other cliff like a minute ago, right?
I see. So how's the Aegis usage from NoPing so far? Do you think they're doing what they're supposed to? Because they don't push well, so they do need those skills to actually get to the towers, I would assume, right?
Yeah, it could be a little bit better, but you can't really ask for more. It is the first Aegis. It happened at a decent timing. If they can't really push with that catapult timing on minute 15, that's it. Can't do much more. They just need to keep on being aggressive. Keep on playing on the enemy side of the map. Keep on trying to get good jumps. Kill them before they get to those items that allow Dire to disengage. You probably want to, let's say, make sure that you take the tier 2s and you don't give them a map anymore to the enemy team with the second Aegis. If it doesn't happen with that Aegis, I would start being worried. But right now, it's okay.
Okay. Another question that I have is, like, once this Void Spirit finishes the eggs, I do fear for the burst damage on the side of NoPing, because I feel like Duster's just gonna get bursted every fight, and that felt like a lot of the damage. Obviously, RDO is scaling a little bit more, but do you think that would be a problem? The Lich, as a 5 being so much of the damage, Amory does dodge the arena once again. Suits goes in very boldly, but very loose.
They have a lot of damage from the other positions as well. If you're thinking from the perspective of Dire, their big targets are the Darkseer and then the Mars. Those are the heroes that you can think about bursting in a fight reliably in a good scenario. Alright, there's a smoke. They might be able to get a jump with the DK on the mid wave. Let's see if the Radiant try to get this creep wave as well.
Okay, they find the clock as the smoke's about to connect. Darkseer, he will get spotted, blinks out of the Dragon Tail, so they're only losing Elmisho so far and doesn't feel like they have enough reach. DK doesn't dare actually blinking the high ground. There's obviously vision there. Jump from J Mari. They do drop that shard from the DK. You mentioned that's a lot of damage. He gets cleaned very quickly. Lisak still chasing. Suits with the spear stops the DK. Can they get anything more?
That was a very big mistake from J Mari at the start. The smoke was going to hit. Darkseer was going to go for that wave. They could have just started by killing Darkseer, but he walks up too early. So now they can't actually get a clean jump with the smoke. And then, an even bigger mistake later, the fact that Darkseer goes for the rune while he knows that everyone is there. This is very big, because right now, you just gave the enemy team some good kills and the mid tower. You really want to have that tower when you're trying to fight around Roche.
Yeah, definitely. That will become a problem in about 3 to 4 minutes once we know how much time Roche will spawn. And it looks like the DK changed his mind here. He does have the BKB queued up, so he gave up on that halberd we were talking about. The Void Spirit did finish Ag, so a lot of those timings coming to Omega, I would say their chances of contesting this Roche are pretty high, right? As long as they don't get outplayed in the map, I would say it's not easy for NoPing to just join the pit and try to get it.
Yeah, here comes another smoke. Let's see, maybe they can get some jump on the retreating heroes on top. How RDO? How greedy will RDO be? He knows, no! Went back!
Oh, those carries.
That was one of those
all the
moments.
same.
One of those moments where his mind was telling him no, but his body definitely telling him yes.
Exactly. That is a very good kill for Omega. The timing on Roche is not going to be perfect. It's not like they'll be able to just join the Roche pit here and take it away from NoPing. But, you know, they're just cementing this gold advantage where taking fights for NoPing gets harder, right?
and making sure that you can take that area just for a little bit. Let's say get rid of the vision that Radiant has around Roche and put some vision of your own, some sneaky wards around the area that could prove itself very useful. They just put the ward on the cliff. That basically says that they want to sit here. They think we are strong enough to sit here, you guys can kick us out.
Alright, let's see if they'll play just like my allies in pubs, or if they'll actually sit around this area to not get.
They are sitting on an observer. That's kind of sad. There's a Radiant observer on that ramp.
Yeah. Well, though I guess they're gonna be cutting mid for a while. J-Marie, they know. I think they know that he's invis because of that sentry, and NoPing.
They do.
All together. Time for a smoke. Do they have BKB on Mars? They do, so that is also a decent time for them. But yo, it gets broken by Dusa. I'm sorry, by Ench. Very nice position there by Namikaze. Ursa finds the Dusa. They get the punch, but they do pop Stone Gaze, so Suits will be petrified eventually. Hoodwink dies as the Ursa gets controlled by the Usurper. There is no BKB for RDO, unfortunately. The other side of the fight, the Dusa doing enough damage to kill Duster.
RDO can jump on Dusa.
Okay, yeah, he's taking a lot of damage from that illusion.
Looking
He
at it.
got it. Will live so far. Okay, Namikaze is kind of crazy, right? Wait, why is he just... What's happening? They're baiting with this Void Spirit, is that it?
Yeah, that's probably what they're trying to do. That's kind of weird. Little bit of a weird engagement. Both of the teams were just trying to get a jump on the same wave. It ends up being pretty good for Radiant. They get to jump the Dusa, but they never get to fully commit and bring her down.
Yeah, the Dusa is massive. I guess they're kind of banking. Okay, as I say that they find J-Marie. They don't have enough burst. And a little late on the punch, but even then I don't think it would be enough for NoPing. They had this ward, right? So even though they were not perfectly positioned around the ward, NoPing maybe felt like that was a good place to take a fight.
Yeah, it's the runes. The runes were spawning, so the Void Spirit, you know, mid laners really love these runes.
Namikaze 4 steps away from the Ice Fire. As they find J-Marie, he gets speared. Tier 2 tower doing damage to him, but the DK shows up, pops the shard, and that's a lot of damage. Duster, so 2 supports for a mid laner. But the thing is, Roche is up, and a tier 2 tower is taking a lot of damage, so doesn't look very good for NoPing.
It does not. They should be the ones applying pressure. If I'm this Dire team, I'm thinking, we're not getting pressured right now. I want to play around Roche, but farm. And I would be super happy. Let's go for some pick-offs, all of that stuff. No, they don't even care about that. They are gonna be the aggressive team. They are gonna be the ones trying to get jumps on the mid wave. They are gonna be the ones taking these fights in the enemy triangle, taking the enemy mid tier 2.
Yeah, they're doing a good job here. That first ward we saw being placed in the cliff did not get dewarded. But now, do you agree with this? They're actually kind of leaving this beautifully warded area. Do you think that's a good move?
I don't really like doing that once your wards are on the cliffs, because they can get dewarded. But Radiant is smoked. Let's see.
Yeah, Namikaze actually breaks the smoke with the tomato, but gets jumped. Probably dies a 4-step towards a different area. Nice bushwhack, and they stun the Ursa they can, but he pops the enrage before that, and the Tiki just gets obliterated. Dusa, though, with the BKB you mentioned pretty early, or I guess he's just Omega farmed. J-Marie forced out from Sexy Fat, and it looks like this could be a Roche NoPing can force, and probably a result of not camping those wards we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Usually if you put those wards, it just means that you want to play there. The moment you leave, they should be getting dewarded. The fact that the first one is still up, probably a mistake. They should have dewarded it. Now they understand it's there, they're going to go for it. But I think the big mistake there was the Dusa walks low ground.
Okay.
Let's see. Buybacks.
Buyback doesn't do that much. Can they actually chain stun J-Marie? They're trying. Oh my lord, even with Lysak's damage reduction, he came a little bit late, and that's I mean, not terrible, but definitely sloppy for Omega as they get speared. NoPing. They're gonna dive this Hoodwink. A couple of missed chances, and now the Dusa actually does a lot of damage to that Ursa. Jesus, El Misho being chased. Oh my no, they stunned the Ursa once again. Is he dead? He has no BKB. RDO just wastes the Aegis. Might get Dark Demon, but I'm sure this is not worth it.
Alright.
You seem
If
angry.
the Dire team doesn't do some weird stuff right now, there has to be a miracle for Radiant to pull it back. That's as far as I'm going to go.
Okay.
But you never know. Because Dire was in a position where I'm thinking, oh my god, they are going to get this Roche. And then they make that mistake where the Dusa starts the fight in the low ground after the Enchantress has already broken the smoke.
Yeah.
And this is how hard they get punished. So really good by NoPing that they make that smoke, they make it away from the place that Omega was holding, and then they get the good fight into Roche. But the chase afterwards is honestly a little bit silly.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're not really reading how strong they are inside of NoPing in terms of like their cooldowns and all that. Especially with this Ursa, I'm pretty sure he didn't have a BKB for that engagement, right? Maybe it was flying to him, but a big mistake.
Yeah, he did not.
Yeah.
I'm just very proud of the course on the Dire side. The fact that he's going for Halberd on Decay, then he changes for BKB. It was late because they were playing together a lot, so he doesn't really get to push all of these side lanes. Now the Dusa goes BKB after just a Crystallis. It's the reason why she doesn't just die to the arena in that engagement. And now they're gonna pressure. Very aggressive gameplay from both teams.
Oh yeah, you are pressure into wall though, so very scary team fight here from NoPing if they can execute it properly. There is Blink, Surge in, but he kinda gives up on it. There is that Aether Remnant, but there's also BKB on Sexy Fat, so he could force this if he wants, but he won't.
Let's see what the Dire want to do after this pressure. Usually you would want to stay in the same area, so if they leave you can pressure again. Abuse the fact that they might not have TPs. There's no TP on Leech, no TP on Darks here. And no TP on Mars.
They are grouping up as JMary cuts the mid wave.
Careful on mid lane, that's a scary one. Cutting the wave alone. He doesn't get punished, it's fine.
He will be okay. Farming towards that Sunge for the Kaya Sunge. And, I mean, ideally Omega can chill, right? They could force a fight once maybe the... what is the timing they're waiting for here? Once this Halberd is done. But do you think they really need to play aggressively?
They don't need to, but you don't want to just AFK. If you have some timing, if you see some opportunity, you want to go for some plays, right? Make some smoke play. You want to definitely make sure that the Radiant team is not just going to set up and, let's say, take one of your areas.
Yeah, I think...
They might get the Mars, that's a really good smoke.
Oh boy, they get it, but the wall is there. BKB pulled by Vingate though with the Stone Gaze break on Mars, doing a lot of damage, but he will be able to walk it off. Dark's here dead without casting the wall. That seems like terrible problem here for NoPing, as they do find 2 cores, and they might even find a Clockwork. Wow, Jesus, that's a lot of damage from the Impetus, but it is capped at 2k range, so that should be fine. He dies as the Deuce is going middle. No buyback.
As the Brazilian fans know. I think all the Brazilian fans are kind of interested about this Enchantress combo.
Oh yeah, and Asart, he's the king of that combo. Loves using the that neutral item. Jesus, it's been a while. I still forget the name of it. To a lot.
Bomb?
Huh?
The Fey Grenade.
Yes, Fey Grenade. Sorry.
That worked. That was the MVP of that smoke. Really good by Omega that they will go for that aggressive play on the wave. They get the good jump because of the vision.
Okay, they find the wall, 3 people, but Mars still dead. They are very tanky on the side of Omega, so that's not going to be enough. Even with the BKB being on cooldown, Lissex finally gets it done. So the timing was correct, unfortunately. Just a weird fight, and they're continuing outside of the wall. I'm not sure about this.
The chain stun?
He just chain stunned and controlled. El Micho dead. What? What's going on? This feels so weird. Okay, they find the spear onto Dark Demon, but they don't have Ursa. No buyback. Suits just buying time pretty much. As Flock now will buy back for Vingate. He has no problem just standing here and destroying the I mean, is this game over?
You never know. You can always lose a game of Dota.
You can always lose a game indeed, but I just see at least 2 lanes of barracks being dead here.
They will
obviously.
not finish the game.
Yeah.
They will not finish it. But the Radiant will only win if they somehow manage to get a good fight when these BKBs are on cooldown. That's what they need. Their big combo when the BKBs are on cooldown.
Oh, Jammery does pop the Usurper. Can he live? No. Hookshot will connect, so that is a dead Void Spirit. No buyback, but that's still going to be a lane of barracks. They're actually going for the range one, so there might be enough time for Jersey to come back. Not sure I agree with Mingate here as they do buyback. They literally really want to try and defend the melee barracks if possible, but it's just
they
not
shouldn't
be
be fighting for this on Radiant. They should just be letting these racks go, getting a better organized fight.
Yeah, I guess they assumed because Dusa went for the range barracks, there would be time, but Dusa is way too farmed.
You simply don't have the damage to actually kill her, so you're never gonna stop them from taking that. They do manage to get a kill on Void Spirit.
Yeah, that's cool. But still a 20k gold lead, which is more than the entire net worth of Ursa, which by the way is the most farmed here on the side of NoPing. Do you see any problem? I feel like the items RDO went for are fine, right? It's mostly the way they decided to take fights on NoPing. A little bit sloppy.
Those are pretty much the items you need to go for. There's probably some other changes, but the blink and the diffuse will have to happen. Yeah, as we kind of talked about at the start, the top lane not going well made it very difficult, and I think they got a little bit. They were a little bit out of position on the safe lane as well, so that's what kind of made the early game hard. But they knew what they needed to do, so they go into the enemy jungle. They take the high ground. They managed to take the top tower and the mid tower. I think Omega could have done a much better job defending that if they were more proactive. But once you get those towers, you can play the game. Then they get the Aegis as well. So they were in a position where they could have made their game plan work. But the pick-offs later on, the good smoke fights from Dire kind of put a stop to that. Also very good itemization.
Also, one question here. Do you like... I guess the only build that seems a little bit off for me is this BKB on the darks here. Do you think that's necessary for the way they're taking their fights?
I think the BKB was kind of necessary because of the Void Spirit. It's very hard for you as a Darkseer to jump in and get your combo against this Void Spirit.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
I'm not sure, but if you're going to be the counter initiation, I feel like it's gonna be difficult without the BKB.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but the silence. It took a while. The Void Spirit was not doing that well, so I'm not sure if he chose going BKB even when because I think there was a timing where he could have maybe gone for a bigger item of some sorts. But yeah, as it stands, the BKB is definitely...
He was always a little bit behind. Yeah, he was always a little bit behind, so I don't think he could have. Something interesting for Radiant, they have a gem. I love that. When you're super far behind, you need some map somehow.
They're standing in the low ground.
Here's a smoke.
RDO gets found, being kited by the Scotty. Someone needs to help him. Okay, instant silence as the DK jumps. False BKB. This Ursa seems dead. He has buyback, but this fight already looks disastrous as the Usurper zones the Mars. All the supports running top. This fight is so weird. This X, hello. Yeah, I cannot see them winning this fight. This is over. Another hook shot.
That was a very well-timed smoke by Omega. They coordinated very well. They made the smoke fast, and it allowed them to take the high ground before NoPing got there. So even though NoPing has the vision with the cliff ward, you have really big high ground advantage for Dire. All of these backliners from NoPing are kind of sitting in choke points on the low ground around trees. That's what made the fight super difficult.
Yeah, I
And the
was.
fact that they are 20k down.
Yeah, I guess that plays a role for sure. I was very confused because sure the timing of the smoke was good, but it felt like everyone on NoPing was intentionally in the low ground. Do you think it was just like a coincidence?
Um,
Because they
it's
came
usually
like.
easier to hold. Yeah, it's usually easier to hold that cliff if you're on the low ground.
Uh huh. Okay.
But basically, they have to deal with the wave on top, right? So it's hard to hold the high ground and deal with the wave on top.
Glyph is going to be popped here. The Lich will be up for this team fight. El Misho does have that Orchid we saw being used against DK. Unfortunately, there is a BKB for a while now on this Sex. There we go, Sexy Fed blinks, and he gets a pretty good wall with the Arena on top of it. The Lich ult doing some damage, but as soon as Bingati pops the Stone Gate, RDO has to back, and he popped the BKB, so I think it was a good jump, but it's not good enough, at least so far. Refresher being popped as the Dusa first life will end. El Misho inside the cogs as the Ursa gets controlled. Void Spirit jumps on top of him. He's dead now with committed buyback. Suits taking a lot of damage. Gets used as Duster will live, but also leaves the fight. Mars dies. I think this is GG, my friend. But RDO still alive. They get the pull. Sexy Fat trying to get a good vacuum, so that's good. That's gonna be a dead Enchantress. But they will die back to Ursa. This is a disaster, Mangusu. I mean, I'm sure, because GG was called, this is gonna be game 3.
Good jump, but the enemy Enchantress has a goddamn BKB. How are you gonna kill them?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen an Enchantress 5 BKB. But, I mean, he played really well, right? We were praising how he had the same level as J Mari. Or maybe NoPing, underrated how strong that lane would be. Ench, obviously, Spell does really well. And this is one of the first times in South America where I see an Enchantress, or at least Dispatch, look as dominant as this. This was probably the best performance in a while.
Yeah, definitely MVP to the supports of Omega.
Mm-hmm.
Very good impact, Leon.
All
And good
right.
smokes.
So we will go to a game 3, guys. Stay, just grab a cup of coffee, a little bit of water. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long it takes. Thank you so much. I know my mic is a little bit low. It's kind of hard for me to do anything about it, but thanks for everyone watching.